Morning, lawyers divided over legal interpretation of suggestion for Attorney General to discontinue George Kwaning's trial. However, his colleague Bobby Banson says it is a bad precedent. Also coming up this morning, barring any glitches, George Kwaning will be sworn in today as new member of Parliament for Assin North. We have details of these, including organized labor to appear before National Labour Commission over strike, demanding the reinstatement of 3 union leaders by management of Sloan Assegli. We've got details of these and many more coming up shortly. Do stay with us. Thanks for your time on the news in details. The legal conversation and interpretation around comment about the trial of Assin North MP-elect George Kwaning do not appear to be ending anytime soon. This is because legal experts are sharply divided over the interpretation of comment made by Domahene Osadeyo Ajimambidu and others for the Attorney General to file a nolle prosequi to discontinue the case after his victory in the by-election. But the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, has condemned the call, describing it as unhealthy. Legal practitioner Vitus Ban says the call by the Domahene and others is not out of place.
So I think the call is not out of place. The Domahene indeed is a judge, but he's not conflicted in this case. If the case were to come to him, I'm sure he will recuse himself. And the good thing about some of these comments is that, they help us to, as lawyers and as people, to predict our judges, to know their disposition, so that we can predict with some level of certainty their thoughts on some cases that may come before them. But if we have to silence them, especially someone who is also holding a dual position as a very renowned chief, I think that it may be unfortunate. And then when I heard the Domahene, I hear him say that, the president, he knows I love him. Yeah, so that is not something that you can say is a comment made in bad faith.
And lawyer Bobby Banson, who disagrees with his colleague, argues these calls could be a certain negative precedent.
So if the Attorney General has decided to prosecute Mr. George Kwaning for an allegation or on an allegation of a charge of perjury, I do not think that it is right that calls are being made for him to enter nolle prosequi solely because the man has been elected as a member of Parliament. That is where my problem is. Because that would mean that we are beginning to form a society or admit a society where the law would be applied or not applied depending on your stature. That may be the threshold that we may be creating for ourselves as in a country. And it stands to be abused because we do not want that precedent. I am of the opinion that the charge against Mr. Kwaning is perjury. I have heard very sound legal arguments from his lawyers. And I'm hoping that they would have their day in court, advance this legal argument, so the courts would find him not guilty. If the court does not find him guilty, what it means is that he's been acquitted and discharged forever. His record is clean. But if we ask the Attorney General to enter nolle prosequi, it means that anybody, anytime, any day can come up and bring that charge again.
He has, however, called on the Attorney General to address the matter in a fair manner.
The Attorney General said he's going to release a statement on the persons that have passed comment on these things. I'm expecting that statement not to be one-sided, because it is not only the Domahene or those that are calling for the discontinuance of the trial that has made public statement. The President has also made a statement that was very, very volatile. And so I'm expecting the Attorney General's his statement, to also touch on what the President said. Because the President said that we don't vote for somebody who will end up in jail. And that is also a prejudicial comment. Right. It should be treated in the same vein as those that are saying the Attorney General should discontinue or should file the nolle prosequi. So I expect the statement by the Attorney General. Remember, he is the Attorney General that is supposed to be an apolitical office, separate from the Minister of Justice. So if he's the first protector or defender of justice as we have, or for lack of a better word, then his statement should touch on what the president said and what the Domahine and those that follow the Domahine's line of thinking have also said.
Bobby Banson is a private legal practitioner. Well, barring any glitches, James Kwaning will be sworn in today, July 4, as new member of parliament for Asin North. His return would, however, be the second time he's been sworn into parliament after the Supreme Court annulled his initial election in 2020. My colleague Eric Mowen-Egbeta reports.
James Kwaning became the subject of debate and controversy following the May 17 ruling by the Supreme Court, which declared the processes to his election in 2020 as null and void. It brought to an end a near 3-year litigation process while kicking start an intensive campaign which saw the two leading parties bring all their arsenals to battle. It was as intense as it was fierce, with pot shots and counter responses.
The president is wrong if he said that, because he's prejudicing the case in court. Innocent until proven guilty. He's not been proven guilty.
Constituents of Asin North, meanwhile, delivered their verdict with an overwhelming majority for James Kwaning.
I hereby declare Honorable James Kwaning as the Member of Parliament elect for the Asin North constituency.
With the House preparing to swear him in with an invitation to the general public, the controversy over the person, James Kwaning, appear far from over, with the Attorney General hitting back at persons calling for a discontinuation of the criminal case brought against him.
And that was my colleague Eric Mowen-Egbeta with that report there. If you just tune in, you're listening to the news at Section 3 FM 92.7 on the morning show Sunrise. In morning news this morning, the National Labour Commission will this morning meet organised labour over their intended strike to demand the reinstatement of 3 union leaders by the management of Sunon Asogli Power Company. Organised labour has served notice to withdraw its services by July 10. And Secretary General of TUC, Dr. Yao Ban, spoke with our labour correspondent, Daniel Opoku, in Accra.
So we are going there as organized labor leaders, not necessarily Ghana Americans. And we are hoping that we can find a solution if the employers are ready to play ball with us. We don't know what the National Labour Commission is going to do tomorrow. So we will go and hear them. In the meantime, we have declared 10th of July as a day for strike, to start the strike. And that stands. So we have said in the letter, in the notice to National Labour that the directive is that organized labor leaders are saying that on the 10th of July, we are starting a nationwide strike involving all workers, all those who care about this country.
You heard Secretary General of TUC, Dr. Yao Ban. What was supposed to be a peaceful demonstration by members of the GPRT and residents of Shama, led by the traditional leaders, on Monday morning turned chaotic after a scuffle ensued between the demonstrators and the police. It took the intervention of the Queen Mother, Nana Akosua Gyamfiaba II, for tempers to calm down for the demonstration to continue. Here's a report.
For years, the residents have clamored for their roads to be rehabilitated after being awarded on contract. The residents blocked the major roads, leading to a scuffle with the police.
We are not.
And now the MPP's vetting committee will continue sitting today as 3 other aspirants face it for scrutiny. The 3 candidates include former Energy Minister Boakye Jakon, former MPP General Secretary Kwabena J. Japon, and Member of Parliament for Asin Central Kennedy Ohene Japon. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia became the last of 3 candidates to open vetting on Monday. Former Trade Minister Alan Mantin was the first to meet the committee. Speaking to journalists after, Alan Mantin expressed optimism in going through the vetting process.
On several other occasions, so I'm quite familiar and comfortable with this process. I think the important thing for you is to know that tomorrow I will start my constituency tours in Greater Accra. I have decided that I'll introduce an innovation into my constituency tours by clustering constituencies for the purpose of bringing our party executives together, not just within their own constituencies, but in a few other constituencies in the cluster.
For Kojo Poku, who addressed the media before meeting the committee, the process afforded him the chance to prove his commitment and loyalty to the party.
This nation are looking forward to. I don't see anyhow any form that I'm going to look. The 5 that is going to be shortlisted, I am one of the first people that will come through the shortlist. Then from that, the November election, inshallah, I will most definitely win the election. In life, you have to have a dream, and with the dream, you have a positive thinking. My positive thinking tells me that I have gone around the country, interacted with chairmen, interacted with polling station executives, interacted with the grassroots of this party, and they've assured me that I am the one that they feel that my message. Look, I've said that this election is not going to be an election of personalities.
And before we part company, just so you know, today marks the 247th U.S. Independence Day celebrations. The holiday celebrates the Second Continental Congress unanimous adoption of the Declaration of Independence on July 4, 1776, a document announcing the colony's separation from Great Britain. Well, on that note, we end the morning news. And before we go look again at our top stories, lawyers divided over legal interpretation of suggestion for Attorney General to discontinue George Kwanin's trial. And barring any glitches, George Kwaning will be sworn in today as new member of Parliament for Assin North, and organised labour to appear before National Labour Commission over strike, demanding the reinstatement of 3 union leaders by management of Sanon Asogli. My name is George Kwaning. For more news updates, just log on to our website, it's 3news.com. In a world where you can be anything, just be kind. It costs nothing to be kind. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Have a good morning.